All right, good evening, everyone. It's 7:01. I'd like to call together the May 30th, 2024 school committee meeting. If you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. This evening we have a consent agenda posted, which is just the minutes from our May 16th, 2024 meeting, as well as the oath of the bills and payroll. Motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Motion made by Vino,
I second.
seconded by Janine. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have a quorum in presence. Stacy's online, but
I'm
so
here.
that
Can you
motion
guys hear me?
passes. This is our first opportunity for interested citizens. So if there's anyone before us that would like to speak in front of the school committee, either in the room or on Zoom, that's your first chance. There'll be a second chance at the end of the meeting. Hearing none, we will move on to our recognition portion of the evening. Superintendent Clenchey, if you would please give us some updates and some recognition. Thank you.
I'm missing our student representatives already.
I know.
We have a lot of exciting activities happening in our district this time of year. I'm sure our families are out 3 or 4 days a week at least, and appreciate your support. It's always nice to celebrate our students or with our students during this time of year. Last week, we put out a press release in regard to the seal of biliteracy. We have 13 high school seniors that are in this distinction, and it's not an easy thing to accomplish. So congratulations to those 13 students. We had a middle school play on May 18th, Luck Hudson and the 12th Street Gang. Very well done. And again, thanks to everybody that's involved in making this production. It's a lot of work and a lot of time commitment for the theater directors and our students. Our high school held its financial literacy fair on May 21st. This is something that we've wanted to do for many years. I think it's our 3rd year. And this is an invaluable opportunity for our seniors to really get an opportunity to learn about what their next journey is going to be like. So the focus is on, here's your job, how much you're going to earn, how are you going to make this paycheck last so that you have a place to live and you have food on your table. And if you need transportation, how do you get to work? Yeah. So it was really interesting to be part of that. At the end of it, they really did have a better understanding of how much it costs to rent an apartment, to put food on your table, and to have a car. And it's always kind of humorous to a certain degree, because I was standing beside a young man who had rented a BMW. And I think that was the first thing that he did. And I just thought, I'm going to come back and talk to him about half an hour after he's made his rounds. And needless to say, his BMW disappeared pretty quickly when he figured out he had to pay rent and put food on his table, etc. And but it was really cool because a lot of them wanted their own apartment. And they realized that the price of apartments in this day and age, they'd have to have roommates. And so how much furniture did they need? How much does it cost? So they had to combine together and figure out how they're going to set up this apartment, etc. Something that we're going to continue to do every year. And I can't speak enough to the need for our students to have a good understanding of financial literacy, going beyond what does it cost to live, financial investments, how do you set up an account, how do you apply for a student loan, what are the interest rates, what do they actually mean? And it was interesting because, interest rates, unless you go through it, and you have a personal experience with an interest rate, it doesn't have a lot of meaning. But one student I remember, well, I could make this mortgage payment, but he's calculating it without 8% interest. And then when the bank representative was there, she started talking about, well, what about this 8% interest that you have to pay every year on your loan? So again, I think it's a wonderful thing for our students to experience. We had our 2024 LPS STEM Challenge, Can Do Golf. Special thanks to Heidi McGregor and Julie Lord. We had over 1,000 students participate in the competition this year, which is just incredible. I mean, that's a high volume of projects. And from what I could tell, everybody was really motivated and passionate about building their golf course or a particular hole on a golf course. So again, these are great opportunities for our students to develop higher thinking skills and actually use Schcmte learning as well. So again, very pleased that we do this every year. We had a middle school band concert on May 22nd. We had a long-term sub in the music program at the middle school, and I was just so impressed that she was able to forge ahead and offer a band concert. It's not easy coming into a job in the mid-year and not having to work with the students, but the concert was great, and you could tell she was a very gifted musician as well. She did a number with them and played the flute, and very accomplished. Our high school seniors, they had a send-off and a senior breakfast and the annual parade, which was very well done, I must say. No concerns at all, and all of our schools and all our students are just so excited to see the kids drive by in their cars. So it's a tradition that we've done for many years, and I hope it continues to be done for many more years. Congratulations to our graduates. Tomorrow night is a big event at Alumni Field at 5:30. We will be sending our seniors off, so to speak, and they'll be officially graduated by probably 6:30. Terrific Tray of the Year Award. Leah Botko is with us this evening, and we're very proud of Leah and the kitchen staff. They snagged the top award for the best food tray in the state, which is a huge accomplishment. So special thanks to Leah and the staff. I have to tell you that the food that we see in our kitchens is restaurant quality food. They try different things. Our kids are eating more vegetables. They're trying vegetables that sometimes I haven't even heard of the vegetable before, and they prepare them in a way. They do Friday testing all the time, and it's just nice to see the transition that's happened over the few years that Leah has been with us. Our salad bars are well used. When I eat at the cafeteria, you have to get to the salad bar pretty fast, or there's not going to be much less. So it's just really nice to see our students eating healthy. And if you, I'm sure, are in touch with the news, what's happening in the state, food insecurity is on the rise, and significantly on the rise in our state. So being able to provide free lunches to our students is huge, making sure that they're well fed and ready to learn. It's so important. So, special thanks to our politicians in the state for pushing hard to make that happen, because we weren't sure whether it was going to happen. It has made a tremendous difference in the lives of our students. So special thanks to everybody involved in making that happen. We just finished a retirement reception prior to our meeting tonight, and we were able to honor Cheryl Temple, principal of Russell Street School, Sue Pettingill, our ELL teacher who's been with us for many years as well, and Sarah Dorfman, the middle school adjustment counselor. So I wish them well in their future endeavors, and we're going to miss them. They've had a huge impact on our district, and they chose our district. They stayed with us for many, many years. We're really grateful for that. So again, best luck in their retirement. Another 2 weeks, it's going to become a reality. And I think that's it.
Great. Job well done. Thank you. Thank you. We'll move on to our presentation portion of the evening. We've got 7 minutes scheduled for this evening. The first is the PTA update. So Rebecca Lewis will give a presentation on the PTA's accomplishments during the 23-24 school year. Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. So this year we had 115 members. Of those, 24 are staff and 91 were family members. This is somewhat down since the pandemic. We've seen a continued decline in membership, unfortunately. So we are continuing to try to raise awareness and ask that the leaders of the schools also help support that effort. I do want to say Michelle in particular, who does an amazing job and really encourages her staff and talks about PTA, but we see a lot of drop off as kids move up in the grades. And so hoping to encourage more families to continue to support their efforts. This year, we gave, as we have for the past few years, 2 scholarships to graduating seniors from high school. Ruby Hyder and Amy Rana were the recipients this year of our scholarships, and that was announced by Dr. Harrington at the awards night. So each well, when I used to do this, I haven't done it since the pandemic, but we would go through and just share with you some of the things that we support from the PTA. Of course, many people are familiar with the Shaker Lane activities, including our Spring Fest, and this, some of the more recent activities that they have expanded to, which have included doing a virtual dance party. The kids get some glow sticks and a DJ, which is also an activity at Russell Street School now, but also the virtual story time where some of the teachers choose their favorite books and read to students, and we get packets of cocoa and things like that. In addition, we help support a lot of the field trips, particularly to reduce cost to families, and also providing memberships, scholarships for families who might otherwise not be able to participate in some of these activities. So doing things like yearbooks, or for Spring Fest, being able to provide tickets so they can participate in the games and food. We also do try to support a lot our staff and show them our appreciation for them. So let's see, here we do help stock the lounge at the Shaker Lane School, as well as do our spring teacher appreciation luncheon, which we do for all of the schools. And I did forget to mention, from the general fund, we also do share in our appreciation of our bus drivers and our central office staff, and provide them with luncheon for the teacher appreciation week. Next slide. For Russell Street, we also do try to support some of the experiences that students have, like high touch, as well as some of the Potato Hill poetry sessions. Comes and does the workshops. We support a lot of those. We also, every year at both, actually it's now Shaker Lane, Russell Street Middle School, we help organize a book fair. And with the proceeds that we make from that, we try to help the teachers, either the librarians or the middle school, also classroom teachers, to replenish their book stock. So you can see we actually donated over 170 books to the Russell Street classrooms and library this year. And similarly, some of the teacher and staff appreciation that we've done, in addition to providing food and just some nice back to school gifts, we try to give them some ongoing support by doing things like holiday teacher appreciation gifts, just making sure that staff aren't left off. So classroom teachers often get presents from their students, but a lot of the other support staff don't necessarily. So we try to help support that effort. Then we can go to the middle school. So middle school, things definitely drop off a lot in terms of the funding that we have available, but we do try to really continue to offer them opportunities both to support the teachers in their classrooms having materials, as well as just keeping up spirits. And this year, we also have a cultural coordinator on the PTA, which has been really nice. And she helped us organize a Diwali enrichment program this year, which was done at both Russell Street and the middle school, and co-supported by the Littleton Cultural Council. So that was really nice for the kids. Finally, the high school, again, tried to help support a range of activities, both academic and just supporting morale for students and teachers. So we do provide food for a number of different activities, including NCAS snacks, and some ice cream treats for the 11th grade that we were doing after the seniors had left this year. We also bought some cords to recognize students who had done more than 100 hours of community service during their time at the high school. So we want to be able to recognize that. And also this year we had 2 facing history speakers that we supported and having come in to talk about their own history, dealing with prejudice and dealing with the consequences of that. So that is our presentation for this year. And I'd like to also just thank you all for your support from the schools and from the families as well for supporting the PTA.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Any questions for Rebecca and PTA in general?
Well, I just want to thank you for all that you're doing. It's so much, you know, to support the students and the teachers. And I picked up that you do fundraising through the book fair, but where else all the money for all of these many things that you're providing for the district? Where's that all come from?
So we used to do a lot of fundraising activities. So we would have people we'd do bingo night at Russell Street and people would have to buy the cards and things like that. We really do rely on the annual appeals that we do now. Probably because everybody hates having to sell stuff and it's hard to get people to just give their time to do fundraisers. So we do rely very heavily on those, encourage people to give to them. As much as they can. We really, every year, all of our schools have a goal to have as many families contribute, even if it's $2 or $5, because we really do turn that back around to revenue, and we don't do anything else with it other than to support the schools.
Well, you make a big difference. I was a teacher in another district, but I remember that feeling of the PTA always having my back. Like I was worried about a student not being able to go on a field trip or providing the bus for the field trip or what, you know, it felt like it was an equity move, you know, to make sure that everybody could participate. So I'm very grateful for your efforts.
And also, I just want to say, we really also want to make sure that teachers aren't paying for things out of pocket, you know. So we have done in the past, also at some of the luncheons, we give away, it seems silly, but pencils and Post-it notes and things like that, where otherwise they might be purchasing it themselves.
Thanks for bringing us up to date.
Rebecca, how long have you been involved in the PTA?
All for the PTA. My oldest is in 9th grade and I got involved when he was in kindergarten. So
Okay.
10 for you.
Good round.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm also the treasurer, so they're never gonna let me go because they also have to take over the money.
Well, thank you for all that work. All right, next up, we have the CPAC annual update, presented by Littleton Public Schools CPAC interim leadership team, Allison McCarthy, Carrie Eckley, and Rebecca Craven. Trio.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a new pamphlet that we created this year, so I'll pass them out for you.
Thank you.
Go.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Rebecca, Carrie, and I are the interim team. We're just kind of starting CPAC back up. So we met before the school year started and we decided we were going to kind of take it slow and do a few things this year and try to build up our connections with parents and our email and our social media and all those things. So we created our new pamphlet and we established CPAC email through the Littleton Public Schools. And we've been rebuilding our email list. We have a lot of people on there who are graduates and they're not even in the school system anymore. So we're working on that. In October, we had our first event, which was an info night with a woman from the Federation of Children with Special Needs. Her name is Leslie. Leslie, she's wonderful and very knowledgeable. She came out to the high school and we had a few parents come. We had Lynn was there and the student services team was there. And we kind of had some engaging discussions about events we can have, things we can do to bring parents in and families, get them involved. In December, Lynn and the student services team led a question and answer session for parents. This was at the fire station, which was a nice spot to have a meeting. And we collected questions beforehand so that Lynn Snow and the other student services team like Allie and who else was there? Mike and Jay could go through those questions beforehand and be prepared for what was asked of them. And it was great. We had a good turnout, a handful. So that was pretty good. And then we'll let
Okay, so in January, Lynn, and her team, student services team, came and presented the new IEP form, which was super helpful. And, they gave us a comprehensive overview of what the IEP looks like. The new IEP will be starting in the fall of 2024. And then in February, we did a coffee and conversation discussion, led by Lynn Snow about the new IEP form. So people, if they come up with questions from the January meeting, could come and ask them. We wanted to offer the same informational session, but at a different time of the day. So it was a nice change to our typical evening meetings.
And as part of our Mass Pack membership, we're required to host one basic rights workshop. So we had that in April. We chose to offer the basic rights evaluation and eligibility workshop, and that is offered virtually. And the last thing is this Sunday, we're having a meet and greet for families at Shaker Lane Playground. And we just hope this is a chance during the day for everyone to bring all their kids and socialize and get to know other special ed families. And then for next year, we're just hoping to, continue to brainstorm ways to get more families involved and also hopefully hold elections.
Great, thank you so much. Questions or comments from the school committee members or Superintendent Clenchey?
Thank you for your interim leadership, and it sounds like a very sort of community approach and informative, and so really looking forward to it. This is beautiful, and really looking forward to seeing it continue for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to be the interim board. Greatly appreciated. I know Ms. Snow is thrilled to have all three of you working with her. And it's really important that we have a CPAC in our community, and Lynn has an opportunity to work with the board and through extension of the board's connections, make sure that we have an opportunity to work with families who may be struggling. So thank you for everything that you do, and we hope to see you back again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Next, the food service. Kelly kind of stole some thunder here, but the food service update.
I really tried to.
I know, you can help yourself. So Leah, please join us. You're going to give an update on the LPS food services.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm just going to give an update of what we've been up to the last 3 years in the nutrition services. Let me start this slide. So I kind of came up with a mission, the overall view of the program. So it's fuel learning, support healthy habits, and offer fresh food, as you can see. So the thought here is that if students are well fed, if they have a nutritional meal every day, they're going to go into class and they're going to be attentive, and hopefully the absences decrease, things like that, and they're going to be ready to learn. We want to support healthy habits so that students get exposure to these kinds of foods that they might not normally have exposure to. So now they're getting exposure to them, and as they grow, they'll keep making those good choices. So that's the hope. And also offer fresh. So we are looking around. We get a lot of our produce from farms, local farms in the area. We like to get our food as fresh as possible. We get some of our meat. Our burgers come from a local farm. And most recently, we had haddock from a local farm towards Boston at Red's Fest, which was delicious. So on that note, if you can see our little picture with our terrific tray, we won the terrific tray competition. So thank you to everyone who voted for us. It's really an honor to get a little town like us to get that tray. So the focus is on farm fresh food. So we are so happy to have secured the win. And that's the acting commissioner, Russell Johnson, and the Office of Food and Nutrition, Rob Leshen, giving that trophy over. So that was great. So yeah, I talked about local ingredients. I like taking pictures of food, if you can't tell. So these are just some of the partners we've worked with this year. The Worcester Food Hub, Boston Food Hub, Springbrook Farm right down the road. We should be getting their asparagus next week, so get ready. Fairview Orchard, we get our apples from. Little leaf lettuce is delicious. Red's Best Fish, as I mentioned, and our Walden meat. And the little picture next to the local ingredients are fiddleheads, which was one of our try days, our Friday try days. So a lot of kids haven't tried this before. A lot of my staff haven't tried this before. So that was definitely a new vegetable that we got to try. That was a lot of fun. And the kids appreciate the newness of it all. So, you know, when we have new food, when we have unprocessed food, it comes with training. You need a lot of training because you get these boxes of heavy food and they're just raw and you don't know what to do with it. So we've done a lot of training these last 3 years. All of my staff is currently Serve Safe certified, which is just, it's great. We can trust them to cook safe food, which if it's not safe, who cares what it looks like? So it's safe food. The John Stalker Institute is over in Framingham and they've come and done knife skills training. They've done some speed scratch cooking training with our team. And these things are just so great because they foster teamwork across the districts. They get the staff all on the same page. And we've also looked, recently we've been doing a lot of culturally relevant dishes. And that's kind of been the goal of the last 3 years, to incorporate more cultural relevant dishes to families. So that has been something we're looking forward to. So here's cultural offerings. So we're looking for inclusion in the lunchroom. We want all of our students to feel involved. We want them to look at something and say, you know, I've had that at home. I had a parent email me when we did the Chinese New Year. And she said, you know, that meant so much to my daughter because she, you know, we do this at home. And for her to be able to see it in the lunchroom and say to her friends, hey, this is what we do. It was really special to her. And that's why we do what we do, right? So for the families who might not have experience with these kinds of foods, like I sure didn't when I was that age, so they get some exposure to cultural dishes. When I was in school, if I was, you know, in second grade, I never had chana masala, but now these kids have. So we continue to look into expanding our offerings. Yeah, palettes, yes, all the above. And then fresh off the press. So this is very new information and technically we won't know until tomorrow, but I got the okay to tell everybody. We've gotten another award from the USDA. So this is a national award. And it's, if you want to go to the next slide. So it's through the USDA. It's called the Innovation in the Cultural Diversity of School Meals Recognition Award. So it's about what we're talking about, the recognition that our staff is doing these great things and we're looking to make everyone feel included. So we will be getting this award tomorrow. And I was actually invited to speak at the School Nutrition Association Annual Nutrition Conference in Boston this July. So that'll be a great opportunity to be able to, you know, share what Littleton is doing, share what the staff has been working so hard to do. Yeah, and it's just a great opportunity. So I'll send that out when it comes officially, but you're the first to know. Yeah, and just quickly, we talked about the taste test. We have Friday try day, and these are new things that some kids haven't tried, dragon fruit, avocados, things like that. We are doing plantains this Friday. We had a little taste demo today, so they're pretty good. Not bad. So it's definitely, you know, trying to get kids to try new things. And we do stickers because kids love stickers. And they get to try things, say to their friends, hey, did you see that? And then hopefully take some of it home with them, not physically, but, you know, mentally, like, oh, look what I tried at school today. Like, we tried this. Let's go pick it up at the grocery store. So that's the whole idea of continuing it as they grow older. And then we talk about sustainability because with free school meals, you know, more kids are eating. There's always a concern. look at all this food. Are they really eating it? What a waste. But they are really eating it. And we have a couple of things in place that I like to think minimize the impacts. So we are composting at all of our school kitchens. The older schools are composting in the cafeteria, but when we do our prep work, we're composting everything we can. We have a self-serve produce bar in 3 of the 4 schools, not Shaker Lane at this point, just because they're so young. But so you think, oh, that's more food. Why is that saving waste? But when students can pick the foods that they want to try, they're less likely to waste it. So, if they're getting something they know they like or that looks good, they're less likely to throw it away. So that's the thought. We have reusable trays, reusable silverwares at most of our schools. We're trying to, we're always thinking about our carbon footprint and getting local ingredients. So they're not coming from California, things like that. They're coming right down the street. So we also have our share tables and fridges for foods that kids aren't going to eat that aren't opened yet. So they can put it in the share basket, the share fridge, and another kid can come grab it if they're still hungry. And we are piloting a stainless steel tray program at the high school. So the thought there is we're always looking to move away from plastics with the BPAs and all that good stuff. So if it works out great, we'll bring it to the rest of the schools. Right now, it's just a pilot program, but they are pretty. You can see it with the old pork there. Yeah, and then participation, meals are free. They have been free since I started here in 2021. And you think, okay, it's free, whatever, everyone's eating. But these are the past 3 years, every October. It's gone up every single year. Participation is just going up and up every single year. And I mean, we hope to just get it up until there's no more students that we can feed, but we'll do what we can. So yeah, it's what we're here for. It's what the staff works so hard for. So it's great to see that participation keeps going up. And then my last slide, it's in memory of Miss Alice Schimmel. She was our cafeteria manager over at Russell Street. So I just wanted to dedicate this to her. And also, she worked here 30 years. So I just want to say it's what we should all strive for, the commitment to the students. But there was, when we had school lunch hero day, a lot of the little pictures over there, students wrote in how Miss Alice was their school lunch hero and how she always cared for them. And if they were hungry, she always gave them, what they needed. So just dedicated to Alice. And Miss Temple gave us the Schimmel Shack. She did that for us, which I thought was so nice. So that's my presentation.
Awesome. Sure, we got some food, so it's a hot topic. You have questions and comments?
Just wow. I have emailed you a bunch of times, as you know, because I'm one of those parents that is so appreciative of Meatless Mondays, of the local fruits and vegetables, of things like chana masala that my kids eat at home that they can share with their friends. It's incredible that you're going to present to places like that. Is really just such an honor for Littleton and for you, and a recognition of the work you're doing. I share the menus with my friends in other towns and back home in California, and they can't believe that this is our school lunch menu. So just amazing, amazing, amazing work. I'm so glad that you're here, that you have chosen our town to be in, and that we're lucky to benefit from all this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great.
And thank you for your continuing efforts to strive towards sustainability, both in what kids are eating and down to the reusable trays. That has been a hot issue in schools for a long time. So I'm glad that you found a solution to that. I hope your stainless steel tray initiative works out. I was wondering how you got on the radar with the USDA for the cultural diversity of schools. Did you have to apply for?
So yeah, it's application based. I applied a few months ago and I kind of forgot about it. I never really thought about it again. And then they reached out just the other day and said, hey, secretly, you're gonna win, but but we want you to come talk in Boston. So, you know, we're letting you know now. When I said, well, I have school committee and you're not gonna tell me yet. So can I tell them? It was okay. So I got the okay. So yeah, it was application based. I submitted our recipes, our parent outreach. You know, I'm pretty big on social media. I take a lot of pictures of my food. So I sent kind of all that in and they said, wow, this is great. You know, I really want to see this. So yeah, I'm excited to go let them know what we're doing here and all the hard work of the staff, really.
Well, it's a well-deserved honor. So grateful and so glad that you're using local food. It's great for the farmers. It's great for the kids. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Can I read? Oh, sorry, you were gonna say.
No, I mean,
No, you were gonna.
I was just gonna say, I feel like we're gonna lose you to a university that, you know, and like the pictures are beautiful and I feel like this should be served on china and not even the stainless steel trays. But, don't give her any ideas. I mean, it's worth it. The pictures are beautiful. I'm so glad you're applying for the recognition because it's so well deserved. The program's fabulous, top to bottom. The staff's wonderful. I love the social media and to have our students have an opportunity for like just an awesome meal in the middle of the day just provides tremendous value. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
My idea was just gonna be, I think the PTA person has left too, but if they ever wanted to do like a fundraiser where you did like a cooking event class with families and because you're making such amazing snack ideas for parents too, or lunch or dinner ideas, I would definitely pay and sign up for that. We can go to the PTA.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good one. Fruits and veggies, you know, how to cut them, things like that, because you don't always know. So
Yeah, it's a nice community event.
It's a one, we did that years and years ago.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
that's a good idea.
I wanted to ask the board, these awards are so exciting. Do we already have a mechanism to let like Senator Eldridge and Congresswoman Trahan know what's happening in their district, or is it okay if I reach out to them and can I get some more, more information like, hey, in Littleton, because they represent us and I think our senators and congresspeople should know what's happening in their district. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want more information. Yeah, I will give you that.
I think you're on that subcommittee,
I-
government liaison or something.
Oh, I thought that was the town.
I know.
But yeah.
Bigger.
I'll get I'd love to maybe talk to you on email a little bit before I put together something and send it out, because I just think that this little town should be known for all this wonderful stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Awesome. Nice job there. Thanks, Ed. Right. Next up is Lynn. Update on the IEP implementation.
That's hard to follow.
Yeah.
And I will say, Leah is fully responsible for, I've worked in so many school districts and never have I left my office at central office to go to a school to get a school lunch. It is the first school district I've ever done that.
Yeah.
And I look for, and then I get sad when I'm like, oh, I missed the lunch window. So thank you for introducing me to fiddleheads. Delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of briefly give you an overview of highlights from the IEP implementation, things that we've done. And I want to say I'm reporting out, but the work is done by Ali and Mike and Jade Green, who couldn't be here tonight, but I really want to commend them for all of their efforts with getting this rolled out, because this was really an enormous task. This is wrapping up my 26th year working in public schools. And this is a big thing for us, having a new IEP form. It hasn't been updated in over 22 years. So anyway, throughout the year, throughout the 22-23 and 23-24 school year, the Student Services Administrative Team attended all of the DESE SPED leaders meetings and participated in statewide discussions regarding the new IEP implementation plan and shared feedback and input regarding the new format. That's the program about, so that's my next one. I don't have slides for this. This is just a couple highlights. The new IEP implementation was a standing item on our student services administrative team's weekly meeting. We meet each Friday from 9 to 11. And that was just a standing thing that we were always kind of discussing. What the next step was developing our implementation plan. And so we did develop a year-long plan for providing professional development opportunities for staff to learn about the new IEP format and content. The special administrators engaged in crosswalk training sessions with Frontline, which is the software platform that the district uses and will continue to use throughout the spring. So in October, we conducted a review of randomly selected Littleton IEPs to identify potential target areas for additional professional development and training. In November, we did cross-district PD, Lash Learns, and that was on November 7th with our presenter, Dr. Margaret Reed, who provided us with a full-day PD where we immersed ourselves into learning about the new IEP format. The training included small group breakout sessions comparing the current format to the new format, practice sessions using the new format to develop IEPs, and cross-district sharing of ideas and planning for the next school year implementation. In January, the district offered individual coaching sessions to special education liaisons, sessions focused on the current IEP development practices and understanding, and how to adapt to the new IEP format. New sections and the updated sections of the new IEP were reviewed as well. We also hosted an optional virtual coaching session on the new IEP with Alan Bloom, who has done our IEP development training. And so we did 2 sessions of that. So Alan has provided our district-wide professional development to staff on IEP development, and we did extend that invite out to 2 other districts too, so we could have some cross-district collaboration. We sent out an interest survey to special education teachers and related service staff to solicit their interest in participating in a Train the Trainers IEP Navigators program, where they will be receiving a stipend to assist their colleagues in using the new program during the 24-25 school year. And that's supported by the 274 grant, which is a program improvement grant that all districts received to provide staff with these stipends. And then in February, we continued to offer the individual coaching sessions. March, we offered our second optional virtual coaching session on the new IEP. In April, we conducted a mock IEP reevaluation meeting with the leadership team, and we recorded the meeting to disseminate to staff so they could view it and use it as a resource for what a meeting would look like and how it would flow. Because that was the thing. All of these technical changes are easy to kind of learn about, but there's adaptive changes with the way the meeting will flow. And so we really wanted to give staff an opportunity to kind of see what it would look like and what it would feel like. So we all took on different roles. And I was a parent, and Ally, your role was special ed teacher.
I was OT.
And and what we did was we had a team chair from another district who volunteered her time to come and facilitate the meeting because they were an early adopter district. So they ran the meeting as if it was a new IEP format meeting. And it was great. So we identified some nice areas where we can kind of target efficiency so that IEP meetings can flow smoother and also cover all of the things that we need to be able to cover. And so then in April, we continued the planning for the IEP Navigators Train the Trainers, and we've defined expectations and responsibilities. And then throughout May, we conducted a PD session with the school psychologist regarding the adaptive changes to their role at the IEP meetings using the new IEP format, because the school psychologist role will shift a little bit and will be definitely interwoven throughout the whole meeting, where now the evaluators will traditionally kind of report out their findings, and then they may contribute periodically, but everything is really driven by the results of the evaluation. So that they will definitely take more of a spotlighted role in the meeting. So we did a PD session about that. And so then in May, we also disseminated information to staff regarding the new IEP navigators. And then we identified the people who were going to be our navigators for the next year. So we do have 9 navigators who are going to help at each of the schools. So we have 2 at each of the schools, 3 at the high school. So it will be Carrie Fowler, Christina Burdrett, Katie Linehan, Crystal Hutchins, Maureen McMahon, Brianna Mayo, Jan Budo, Melissa Benson, and Katie Johnson. So we're very thankful to them for wanting to take on this additional responsibility. And so they have a kickoff meeting that has been scheduled, and they had a 1-hour remote meeting. And then what they're going to be doing throughout the summer is conducting some self-paced workshops in advance of their August meeting, which will help guide the IEP navigators through the new proposed IEP process and forms that are currently being developed by DESE. And so These workshops have been developed by current early adopters from districts who have already piloted the new form, so it'll really be helpful. And then they'll be assisting and supporting their colleagues throughout the next school year with questions kind of on the ground and be a building-based resource regarding using Frontline's new IEP format, the new form, and also navigating our software platform, which even now with the current form can be tricky navigating all of the components of our software platform. There's a lot of fields, there's a lot of screens, there's a lot of navigating in and out. So coming up, we have a full day PD with Alan Bloom. We have it split into 2 days. Half of the special ed staff will come on June 3rd, the other half will come on June 6th. And the training is focused on implementation of the new IEP. And then throughout the summer, the new IEP navigators and the special ed leadership team will participate in the self-paced workshops that are provided by Accept Collaborative. And so there'll be a lot more updates coming soon in the next year as well. Do you have any questions about any?
Sounds like such a great way to calibrate, even if there wasn't a new IEP form. I mean, what an opportunity to take advantage of all these resources to get everybody trained at the same time and communicating about the same thing. And
Yep.
I think it's, so what proportion of changes would you say have taken place since the old IEP?
Oh,
Like-
gosh, it was a
Like
complete,
night
it
and
was,
day?
so the regulations haven't changed, but as far as just the technical changes to the form, there's been a lot of changes. So, I mean, it's a whole new form, a whole new format, and the technical changes are really going to, are going to trigger a lot of adaptive changes. So just the way we approach an IEP meeting is really now going to focus and be led by student voice, even at a very young age. Because right now, kids that are ages 14 and up participate, but really age 3 and up, 5 and up, we're going to start really incorporating student voice and have it be driven by interest, preference, understanding who they are as a learner and as a student and as an individual, and be wrapping the IEP around it. So that's an exciting change to the form for sure. But then the adaptive change is how we have the dialogue and the conversation. It is really going to be driven in a different way too, which is exciting.
So do all of the existing IEPs need to be reformatted, and do we just
So
do that over time?
thankfully, over time, so each time every IEP is annualized. So each meeting going forward, starting in September, we will be using the new form.
Okay,
And so that's what our transition will be. So there's no expectation that we have to do like a data transfer from the old form to the new form, but we will be populating the forms with it. So it's going to be a little bit of a lift at the beginning, but then going forward, it'll be nice. I mean, the format of the form is much nicer, I think. And what I also like, one of the other things that I think is great is it really focuses on a couple of the parts of the IEP that aren't as emphasized as they should be, which is the non-participation justification. You really need to have a very thoughtful conversation about why we are removing a child from their least restrictive environment and their general education setting. So that really is kind of at the forefront now.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of work, but exciting.
Okay, so shifting, does anybody have more questions?
no, we should be good there, right? I'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll shift gears now. You can bring up the slides. And I'm just going to summarize the results of the program evaluation that we conducted during the 23-24 school year. And I'll certainly also be happy to answer any questions you have at the end. So the district has now completed year 2 of our 3-year plan for evaluating the LPS special education programs. So this year's evaluation, it was of the lab and PACE programs, and it was conducted by Sharon Foucher and Wendy Prunier. So Sharon works with districts to conduct evaluations of district special education programs and services. She provides technical assistance to districts to support the Department of Ed tiered focus monitoring process pertaining to special education and civil rights. She also provides training on special education topics, such as IP writing, eligibility, measurable goals and objectives, transition, early intervening teams, federal and state regulations, and parental rights. So she's got a wealth of knowledge. So in addition to doing what the tasks were with the program evaluation, she also did assist us with doing a record review for us and looking at a sample of student records to look at areas that we could also target. And so prior to that work, Wendy worked as an educational specialist for the Department of Ed, and she conducted audits of school districts to ensure compliance with federal and state regulations. So this program evaluation, this 3-year plan that we're in the midst of, does satisfy the DESE requirement for the tiered focus monitoring for special education standard SE 56, which is evaluating special education programs and services. So next year will be the last of this kind of 3-year cycle, and we'll be looking at our inclusion services next year. And Wendy and Sharon will be conducting that evaluation. So just to give you a brief overview, staff were provided with a questionnaire to fill out before the observations and interviews took place. So prior to that, in addition to multiple email calls, the evaluators met twice with the student services leadership team to really kind of map out this project and plan. We were provided with interview guides, observation forms, and record review forms. They were reviewed and approved. They're very thorough and comprehensive. We were very pleased with the experience that we had this year. So there was also on-site visits that were planned and took place during the month of January. And interviews also took place with administrators, teachers, and support staff. So the questionnaire that was sent out, it solicited information about each program, their understanding of the program's entrance and exit criteria, the curriculum institutes, what's going well and what can be improved. Not every person who filled out the form was interviewed, but rather a variety of special educators and related service providers across the spectrum and the continuum of the district. So in addition, as I said, individual student records were reviewed to determine how closely aligned the IEPs were to the program descriptions. And so, go to the next slide. Some of the commendations the evaluators shared, they were pleased to see the level of programming that Littleton offers and that there was good thought and vision for continuous strands of programming across the school buildings for lab and PACE. And so also, when speaking with the interviewees, the evaluators reported that staff were engaged, committed, honest, and open. They were all acknowledged that the professional development that the district was providing pertaining to special education, and they stated that they benefit from it and that it should be continued. Special educators and related service providers all indicated that they want to be part of the continuous improvement in the programs. The evaluators noted that the physical spaces that house programs were environments that were conducive to learning, and that the staff working in those programs created an environment where students' needs were met. It was upbeat and trusting. The needs of the students requiring greater therapeutic support is something that was identified by staff as a need, and there have already been initiatives in process in response to that. And so with regard to recommendations, specific entrance and exit criteria for the programs was something that staff indicated would be useful. However, the evaluators shared that since it can almost limit the decision-making a team can make, the evaluators recommended that this should be framed more in keeping with student profiles and indicators of success and keep this more generalized rather than adopting very specific criteria. The statement that's found in the secondary PACE program brochure, the evaluators suggested that we develop something similar or use this one for all of our program brochures, which is one of the projects we'll be working on this summer. So including a statement that this program description seeks to provide a general overview of the program. However, the decision as to which aspects of the program are appropriate or students is determined by each student's IEP. The evaluators provided some suggestions from other districts for use in updated lab program description with teacher and staff input. This is a task we can accomplish together. And then in collaboration and opportunities for program aligned staff to meet in district work together to further cement the strand of services and student profiles across the building is also recommended, as well as strengthening the transition process from one school building to the next. So we can accomplish this by continuing to provide staff from each school program time to work with the sending and receiving school and provide more structure to these meetings to better support student transition. So while these meetings do occur and conversations are had, I think one of the recommendations is to build more systems and structure so that there's consistent kind of questions being asked and answered at each of those transitions. Okay, so further recommendations were to look at our therapeutic and behavioral supports and dedicated spaces throughout the district. So even prior to the evaluation, further developing the therapeutic and behavioral supports have already been an area of focus. The district has the benefit of a full-time psychologist, school counselor, and a full-time BCBA at Shaker Lane, as well as a BCBA that's shared between Russell Street and the middle school. And as well, we also have a behavior technician at each of the schools, and we receive additional support from a third BCBA on a contractual basis to support the needs at the high school and our 18 to 22 transition program. So another priority area going forward will be to focus on streamlining data collection as it relates to behavioral and therapeutic needs, and monitoring and building systems to establish and build economies of scale. So as it relates to data collection, so this will be a priority for the BCBAs going into the next school year. They've already begun to invest time in exploring platforms that can be used with the support of our technology department, but we are being very thoughtful about this in order to ensure that we're building a system that's sustainable and is user-friendly and can be accessed by teachers and BCBAs alike. So they're also responsible for continuously training and supporting the special educators and related service providers. And so finally, we always take the safety of students seriously, and this is the most important thing that we do our best to guarantee. So we've had conversations about looking at if classroom locations or offices need to be moved for the sake of additional space or to maximize access to supports and services. We've looked at a change in classroom interior design and layout, and we'll be continuing to have those conversations. And we've had those conversations throughout the year with the principals too. So a review of classroom space will also occur to ensure that any non-essential furniture, equipment, or materials are going to be removed. And in order to be sure as a district that we're maximizing and looking for efficiencies in our service provision, the special administrators are recommended to have more involvement and voice in master scheduling, which is also a recommendation that has already been implemented given the potential fiscal impacts that master schedules can have on the delivery of special education services in a small district with itinerant staff.
Excuse me. Anybody want to go first? I'm glad we're doing this. I think it's wonderful that we're in year 2. I'm kind of looking forward to the year 3.
Yeah, me too.
I was wondering if did this come to us in the form of a report? Like,
No, so what they provide is slides, and so they have a very kind of voluminous slide that go through like quotes and things from every slide. There's probably like 50 or 60 slides, and then
okay,
what I took was these are their slides. So I selected the accommodations, recommendations, kind of the meat of to summarize their findings.
okay.
Yep.
All right. I think it's just like the layout of it kind of confused me a little bit because it's, obviously accommodations, we do a nice job. And then there's like a lot of bullet points for recommendations. So it's like, oh, are these areas of weakness? Are these things that we need to improve on?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to focus on is like the recommendations, the actionable items that they're giving us, because the accommodations that we know that we do a lot of things well,
correctly,
great, and it was
sure.
nice to hear those things,
Yeah.
and thank you so much. But the whole purpose of a program evaluation is to look at, all right, well, what can we do going forward? What can we do differently? And look at our programs that, we've invested a lot in getting them to where they are, but how can we take them to that next
Sure.
level?
And I appreciate that. So that's with no like disrespect, like that's the whole point of this, right? To move forward. So I'm glad that there were things for us to consider and things for us to look for. If there was a report, I'd love to, love a copy of it, love to look it over, but if it's
Yeah, they don't
essentially
provide
this,
they
then-
don't provide a report. What they really, and we talked about that because we received a report when we did the year before. And this I like because this is actual like usable. Like this is really, we can take these are very tangible recommendations and move forward. It was nice that some of the recommendations were like, oh yeah, we've already identified that. That's something that we're working on. The therapeutic spaces was a big one that they called out. And that's great because now at this point, we have the bridge program, which is a therapeutic space at the high school. We'll be building out a similar space at the middle school. We received a great grant from the Kimball Foundation to be able to execute that at Russell Street, which will be this summer happening. And this school year, we've done that at Shaker Lane.
Good.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like a lot of the recommendations and what you were talking about are sort of process and systems based. But if there's anything, I think it'll come more in the year 3 that requires any budget impact or support from school committee or ratios or things like that to definitely just keep us updated. It doesn't sound like it's as of now, so.
Oh, for sure. And what happens to like, so this is the district's responsibility to do our own kind of program evaluation
Yeah.
and do kind of a self audit. But then what comes is our tier focus monitoring, which is a very, thorough and comprehensive audit of our programs from the Department of Ed. And so that's where they go through and evaluate all of the different criteria and make sure that we're, compliant, caseload sizes, ratios, all of those things, the aspect of physical structure and space and the delivery of services. So we are looking forward to the inclusion services component, because that's something that we have, everything is scaffolded. So we've definitely been working on, as far as our own priorities with regard to inclusion, is providing more inclusion, more push-in, and utilizing the benefit of all of the UDL training that we've been doing to create classroom environments that are universally designed.
It's important to note that these are relatively new programs in our district, so we are at the building stages still. So this report was instrumental in helping us determine what our next steps would be.
All set? Okay.
It's been a busy several months for you.
Busy and exciting, yes. When you really get to reflect back and like, whoa,
Yeah.
wow, past 180 days have been busy.
Well, thanks for all you do.
Sure.
So you're going to
Right,
stay
the
with
next
the
one too?
LPS bullying
Okay.
plan? Yeah.
Gotta save the best for last.
Right for you. You're busy tonight. All right, so LPS bullying plan is up next.
And I did provide, I know it was linked in the agenda, but I do provide just printed copies in case you want to reference it, because I'm just gonna highlight just a couple of the changes that are proposed.
Awesome, thank you.
No presentation. So just to give a quick overview, so the bullying plan needs to be developed in consultation with teachers, school staff, professional support personnel, school volunteers, administrators, community representatives, local law enforcement agencies, students, parents, and guardians. So each of the principals have provided opportunities to engage in this process with stakeholders through meeting with their building, their school leadership teams. And so in addition to that, the consultation includes notice and a public comment period. And so this evening, we're at that step in this process. The faculty and staff at each school are to be trained annually on the plan. Components of the plan applicable to the school by the school principal or their designee to ensure that the relevant sections of the plan relating to the duties of faculty and staff are included. And then we post the plan on the website, and each school principal is responsible for the implementation and oversight of the plan at their school. So just a couple changes that I want to call out. So on pages 3 and 4, we have the current definition of cyberbullying says it's defined as bullying through the use of technology or electronic devices such as telephones, cell phones, computers, and the internet. It includes, but is not limited to, email, instant messages, text messages, and internet postings. So in the past couple of years, there has definitely been an increase in cyberbullying. And so the definition has very much been expanded. And so now the definition of cyberbullying is defined as bullying through the use of technology or any electronic communication which shall include but shall not be limited to any transfer of signs, signals, writing, images, sounds, data, or intelligence of any nature transmitted in full or in part by a wire, radio, electromagnetic, photoelectronic, or photo-optical system, including but not limited to electronic mail, internet communications, instant messages, or facsimile communications. Cyberbullying shall also include the creation of a web page or blog in which the creator assumes the identity of another person. It should also include the distribution of by communication to more than one person, or the posting of material on an electronic medium that may be accessed by one or more persons. Distribution or posting creates any of more of the conditions enumerated that are inclusive of the definition of bullying. So that's probably the biggest change that you'll see is there's a much more robust definition of cyberbullying. And then on page 9, this section will now cover both allegations by a student or staff member. It didn't reflect, allegations by a staff member previously, so that's another change. And then on page 11, there is the paragraph that says upon the principal or designee determining that bullying or retaliation has occurred, the school will use a range of responses that balance the need for accountability with the need to teach appropriate behavior. There's an additional sentence we'll be adding that says this may include counseling or referral to appropriate services for perpetrators and victims and for appropriate family members of those students. So that's an addition. There's another paragraph that talks about discipline procedures. And then at the end of that paragraph, we're adding, if the principal or designee determines that a student knowingly made a false allegation of bullying or retaliation, that student may be subject to disciplinary action. And the section the sentence that will be added, or the phrase to that sentence, including but not limited to potential suspension from school. And then finally on that page, when the principal or designee has determined that bullying or retaliation has occurred within a reasonable period of time following the determination and the ordering of remedial and or disciplinary action, the principal will contact the target to determine whether or not there has been a recurrence of the prohibited conduct and whether additional supportive measures are needed. So the addition there is just the first phrase of that sentence. When the principal or designee has determined that bullying or retaliation has occurred, we do need to make sure that we are circling back to that target to ensure that there has not been any retaliation. And then finally, it's the relationship to other laws has been updated to reflect the current laws. And so there's just another paragraph there that you'll see that has expanded. And really it talks about protected classes, race, gender, disability, addressed through another procedure. And also it says that the alleged conduct should be addressed in a manner consistent with the district's procedure, for example, discrimination or harassment or grievance procedure applicable to the allegations. So for instance, sometimes like there might be bullying might be alleged, but it might also be civil rights that we need to look at, or Title IX, we might need to look at it under those and follow those procedures.
Questions for Lynn?
So comprehensive. Wow.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive plan. I mean, it's pretty, we update it every
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
I would appreciate the work that goes into having a process really laid out. Because this is so broad that having something to go back to, and it's like, there are steps we take.
Yes.
That's huge.
How was our 23-24 year for bullying? And I mean, it's something that's always going to be there, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
You know, we're
developmentally, it's going
we're
to.
dealing
yeah.
with children that are, but I mean, was it like on a trend? Like, did we have a year that was?
I would have
okay,
to
or-
look at our data, but I will say just
How did it
anecdotally,
feel?
I do know that we had more substantiated accounts of bullying than last year. I mean, we're still very low, near zero rates for sure. There's a lot of social conflicts that end up having to get navigated. The principals are handling a lot of that. Or they're doing investigations and finding that it doesn't rise to meet the criteria or standard of bullying. That being said, it's social conflict and that there still may be outcomes or consequences or disciplinary action that needs to come out of it, even if it doesn't necessarily meet the criteria for bullying.
Is the trend more that it's social media based and not in-person
Yeah.
hallway type bullying?
Yep.
And is the trend also that it's the earlier the children have access to electronic devices, the quicker they get in trouble?
I mean, that's a factor for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we are finding that probably more, another one of the trends is that we're hearing, or we're kind of receiving the fallout of something that maybe has happened that's outside the scope of the school or happened after school, but it's impacting.
yeah, they bring
Yes,
it into the school
yes.
building with them, right? The
Yeah.
problems follow.
Yeah, and so while it doesn't, it's outside of a school or school sponsored, so it's not bullying, but there's also, it could be creating a hostile environment,
Right.
which then we might be looking at it under civil rights, even though it's not necessarily bullying, there still could be disciplinary measures I need to take to
Yeah.
respond to it. because a student is outside of school creating or engaging in conduct that then creates a hostile environment in the school for students.
Stacy had her hand up. I don't know if she's still, Stacy, you there?
Hold on one second.
We can
Let's
hear
see.
you.
No, you can hear me. Okay. I was just wondering what kind of, or if any statistics you could share with the school committee on those levels of increases in bullying and kind of the severity of it.
I can in the fall. I mean, all of the principals have to report to DESE all of their data by the end of the school year. So all of that will be entered into DESE, and it's publicly available information, but then we have the exact numbers, so I certainly can provide that data as soon as it's all entered at the end of the school year.
Okay, no, I appreciate that because I think I had.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I know the connection's a little shoddy. I do have in my notes that I had asked last year what kind, like if we could get statistics and that they were available on DESE, but you guys are doing so much. I think to be proactive about it, it would be really helpful for us to have at least a little bit of the numbers and statistics that we're seeing from year to year, just to make sure that what we're doing is effective and is working to kind of decrease the level of bullying that we're seeing. That's just kind of like the only notes that I had from last year's presentation. So, but I do appreciate I know you guys are being really proactive about it.
And we can certainly make a note to provide the 23-24 school year data at the beginning of the next school year. I'd be saying you can have it for the next meeting. There was one, but
Yeah, we don't have to have a bullying meeting if there's nothing's on fire, but maybe we could get that on an agenda for early. Yeah,
yeah, just do a slide with the district data.
start the year off great. You good, Stacy?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Yes, I think, yeah, if at some point, of course, we don't want to start the year off with that, but I think if it's something that we don't let fall to the wayside, I think it's just something that would be good for us just to have, so we have that data.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if that's the first time we have the data when we reconvene, let's get that on, first or second meeting.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
Again, it's a topic that every district has to deal with, so dealing with it doesn't make it a bad thing, but with all the work that goes into it, I think Stacy's point is we'd like to see how it's paying off, and just like the IEP updates and the recommendations, like what do we need to do differently if we're noticing that things are changing, things change every day in terms of technology. So I'm good with that, you guys. Good? All right.
Thanks, Lynn.
We'll let you rest.
Thank you.
The whole year for tonight.
All right, so next up is the post-secondary plans for the class of 2024, presented by Superintendent Clenchey.
So I'm sure you've had a chance to look at the package. We have 122 students graduating tomorrow night, and 49 of them are going to colleges and universities outside of Massachusetts, which is kind of interesting. And I haven't been able to identify a trend over the years. It really depends on the grades, and there are links to universities. Sometimes they want to explore universities that their parents went to, etc. But it's kind of a nice balance. We have 4 students, I believe, that are entering the workforce. One is kind of taking a gap here, entering the workforce as well. And we're seeing more of that in districts or across the nation with graduates. They're taking some thoughtful time before they jump into college. For the cost of college, that may not be a bad thing if they're not sure what they're going to explore. So when you look at the variety of universities, very impressive. And we have a couple going up to Eastern Canada as well. Every year we have a few that venture up to Canada to get educated at a university. So just very proud of the graduates. This is all of our classes are special. This class is really special too. And this class, if I was to characterize them, they're passionate about equity, and making sure that they do their part and having everybody feel welcome and supported. So they're huge advocates of that. Our facing history class had, and some of them were at a previous school committee meeting. And you could tell when they were here, they're just passionate about making a difference. So excited for them and confident that they'll be going on to do some great things. Any questions about?
Will that be announced at graduation what their postgraduate plans are?
No, graduation's long as it is.
Yeah.
So,
It was a great list.
it is very impressive.
Yeah, it's terrific school.
Tuition.
I know, I'd love to add up the tuition. I'd love to add up the tuition on this.
I mean, that's exciting,
You're scared.
but that's.
We need
in my
another
mind,
column.
smaller signs.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
UMass Amherst is the winner, huh?
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah. That's exciting.
UMass Lowell's picking up. though,
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah,
Glad to see kids exploring Middlesex community as well. That's a great opportunity for students to start out college without racking up all that money. It's,
Well,
it's,
exactly.
yeah, you can get some great credit there and transfer it. The pro secret.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a partnership with Middlesex College. We have dual enrollment at the high school, and so many of our seniors have already had 1 or 2 college courses before they venture off on their own. So I'm a firm believer, I think we all are as leaders in our district, that if we can have as many students as possible experience a college course prior to graduation, there's a far greater chance that they're going to graduate on cycle as well, which is huge when you look at the cost of 1 year of university.
And it was interesting at the college literacy fair that they talked about earlier. Students got profiles with what their degree requirements were for that job. And some chose to advance that. For instance, if they had a job that only required a bachelor's, they said, well, I want to get a master's. And that immediately affected what their school repayment amounts were. So they would go, oh, well, maybe I'll wait on that and see if the company I work for would pay for some of that. So it really got their financial juices flowing as far as education levels. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, tuition reimbursement is a great deal.
It is. We have had a few students in the past graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree from Middlesex College as well.
brilliant.
It's really cool when that happens.
Thanks for this information. Very interesting.
What's the Montana State University? Is there a connection there? That's like a,
Could be an athletic scholarship.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Or a musical scholarship, but I don't know if Montana is known for some music. I could be wrong.
yeah, it's great schools. Looks like everyone's got a good path ahead of them. All
Well,
right.
this is a testament to the hard work of the guidance counselors at the high school too.
For sure.
And they really guide students through the process of applying to college and figuring out their path. And this is a testament to their work.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And they do a lot, helping them fill out applications, helping them write letters, et cetera. We have our English department also taking time to give them advice when they're writing letters for entrance letters for universities. So we developed a nice process throughout the years.
So what'd you say about a third of the class is going out of state?
Yes.
Yeah. Off exploring. Good. All right, financial update?
Yep, reports on the screen in the packet. As I reported, the last time, we were in good financial shape for the rest of the year. Not gonna run out of money to pay the bills, so that's good. We have had some savings, some small savings in some areas of the budget. Again, as I reported, that is allowing us to continue with some capital improvement projects within the schools. Those projects are gonna be a combination of both some town funding, and then we have to supplement that with some school funding because the prices have increased since that funding was approved. But we are able to move forward on that. So we're in good shape through the end of the year. No concerns in that regard. So be glad to answer questions. And if there,
At the end of the year is June 30th.
June
right?
30th, correct.
So we're carrying 5-1 for another, is that right?
Correct, but again,
So some of those
correct, some of that,
salaries.
some salaries, that's about
Yeah,
$1.7
they
million.
get advanced, then paid out afterwards.
Correct. So that's about $1.7 million.
Yeah.
We still have, I think this is reflective of, still 3 normal pay cycles, payrolls, that are not reflected in here yet. So we still have to pay those out.
Mhm.
We have some, still working on some sped tuition bills through the end of the year and things like that. So it'll all be gone, but we're not short of money. We're not short of, we're able to meet all of our obligations for the year. So,
That's always good.
yeah. And then if I could also take this opportunity just to remind people and
Let me guess.
bus registration. So, always take the opportunity to ask people to
That's so
register. So that's open until June 20th. We ask everybody to register. Please register for the bus. I know Stacy's listening, and we did take Stacy's comments to heart. We did implement some changes to our registration process, where you should be receiving an email confirmation once that registration is completed. And you should also receive an email communication if you've started the registration but didn't complete it. There was a lot of confusion over the last couple of years as we're developing this program. So we think that it is a nice enhancement to that system. So please go register for your students for the bus for next year. It helps us a lot. As soon as June 28th hits, we send that data off to the bus company. We start developing bus routes and bus lists for next year. So the sooner we get those to them, the faster we get that done. So just wanted to make that out there.
Good.
Thank you.
I successfully registered my children because I got the confirmation email.
Awesome.
You know what I wasn't able to do though on that same line was register for middle school sports. So the email came out, register, but don't pay. And that might be for the high school too. But I couldn't figure out how to register without paying because when you clicked the link, it brought you
For
to
sports,
for sports.
that's a different process. So we'll have to look at that. So,
But I'm just sharing so this can go back to Mike.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It brought you to the website to pay. But you were just supposed to register and so there was.
Because you're supposed to just register and pay.
It also could have been user error. Like I fully acknowledge that I might have been doing, perhaps others were too if I was having the issue. And then I couldn't even find the middle school on the drop down even if I wanted to pay. I don't know. I'll look at it again. But
yeah,
there
reach
might
out to
be-
me and let me know because I'd
I'll
like to
forward
look
you
at
the
that. But those are actually 2 different systems. So the bus registration system is a little different than the sports registration
Yeah.
system, but it all goes to the same pay link at the end of it, which is
And that's
Unibank.
where that's why it looked familiar because I had registered for the
Correct.
bus, tried to register for sports, and it was bringing me to the same place. So it was something might not be right here.
Okay. Thank you.
Good for us to know.
Yep, I can forward you the email. All set there?
I am, unless you have additional questions for me.
Nope. none.
Is it a concern that we're at 103% already on transportation?
No,
No,
we anticipated it. So,
it's built in.
Yes, it is. We knew we were going into this budget year without appropriating enough money, which is all the increase in the buses. We're all covered.
And as a reminder, some of those transportation costs will be coming out of school choice as well to cover that, but,
Okay, thanks.
Can I just share? Can you guys hear me?
Sorry, Stace, did I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have a
It's me,
question?
yes. No, it's okay. I just wanted to say, give my appreciation to Steve for taking some of the comments that I had made last year. I've already had some parents say that they have some peace of mind knowing that like everything's all confirmed for them. Because I know we sometimes sign up for things and don't have a confirmation, but this is one of those big ones where you can kind of have a panic attack on like, wait, am I going to be all set for the bus? So appreciate you taking my input on that and acting on it. Thank you.
yeah, great. That was a great recommendation, Stacy. So thank you for that as well.
Good. All right, so one item of new business, signature authorizations, accounts payable and payroll. This was a request of the town, now that elections have taken place. Yeah, it was kind of shuffling papers. I let you read the motion.
So normally we would need 3 school committee members to approve the payroll warrants and their accounts payable warrants. School committee has the option if they want to take, elect 1 member to be representative, you can do that, but it requires a vote. So that's what this is about tonight.
Okay.
If you don't do it, then 3 of you will have to come up and sign warrants or do it online. We do it online now, but
Very common practice to designate one individual from the school committee. In fact, in the 25 years I've been a superintendent, I don't think I've ever had more than one individual sign them.
Well, this sounds very much like that subcommittee assignment of oaths and payroll.
Yeah, I believe it is one
Yeah,
and the
that's
same.
the way it's
That's how
related.
we
Yeah.
operate,
Yes.
and then this just formalizes the process and puts it in our minutes.
correct. And the
So-
town has to have that in order to show state auditors and things like that, that we're following the right process.
So this puts it in the minutes in their preferred format for that audit.
Sounds good.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless there's any discussion on it, doing
You're
the
willing to
docu,
do it?
yeah, doing the DocuSign, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah. All right, well, I move that, that Justin McCarthy be the school committee representative to approve and sign all school accounts payable and payroll warrants for the remaining FY 24 year and the FY 25 school year.
Motion made by Elaine,
Second.
seconded by Bino. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Thank you for that.
Great, thank you very much.
This is a second opportunity for interested citizens. Hold back. Saturday, what's our last meeting of the year? School year. Hearing none, we'll move through our subcommittee reports. Stacy informed me that there is not a PMBC specific update, but we usually piggyback that with the Shaker Lane building update.
Sure.
Kelly, you've got an update for us there?
I do. Things are happening rather quickly, and I sent out a plan today, visioning, programming, work plan for you to reference as we start the adventure, so to speak. June and July are action-packed, and but what I wanted to say to you, we do have designated groups. So we have district leadership team, vision working group, educational forum. There's kind of 3 categories, but if you would like to attend anything, just let me know. You're welcome at any of the meetings if you'd like to attend. I want to make sure that you participate at a level that.
You too. Can you say goodnight to Daddy?
So it's kind of action packed. I don't want to go through the whole thing since you already have it. But on Monday, I was surprised. It's supposed to be later date. A number of us will be touring 3 schools, new schools, Westwood, I should say. Smith Elementary in Danvers, and then Blanche, Ames in Easton. So we'll take a little trip and take a look at the new schools and take a look at the configurations and how they plan for educational programming, as well as energy efficiency. So I'm kind of excited to be at the point where we can start this process.
Where are you going? Danvers, where else?
Westwood
Westwood,
and Easton.
Okay.
The Easton and Norwood.
I'm like
are-
trying to do that on the map,
Westwood.
thinking, can that even get
Yeah, you do that. Westwood is down 495 down south,
Yeah,
and then Danvers is up north, so
Just
A lot.
keep driving everything, right?
it's a lot of driving.
it seems like a lot of driving.
Yeah, it was.
Hope you.
But it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I apologize if this has been covered. Has there been a decision made regarding building versus renovation?
We're in the feasibility stage of
Okay.
the project now, and that is what they're going to determine.
Okay.
But in order for them to determine that, they need to take a look at our educational plan and our vision for Shaker Lane. And so there's a lot of information that needs to be gathered. They are going to have engineers at the school. We've already started. They're going to take a look at every aspect of Shaker Lane School and determine whether or not it's feasible for renovation or addition. So that's really what they're going to do for us, and then make a recommendation for us at the end of this process. So next town meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so many dates, we probably, 25, right? We probably have to go, hopefully we'll be ready to go out for, and ask for a certain dollar amount to move forward with whatever they recommend. So our project is for about 48% subsidized by the state, but the rest of the money is gonna have to come from taxpayers. So next town meeting, in spring 2025, we hope to be ready to, ask for a sum of money so that we can move forward with that project.
Not the fall town meeting.
No,
spring.
sorry, the spring, sorry.
I'm like, in November, you're gonna ask people for money? Really?
My mistake.
Okay, no, that's good.
The PTA was gonna cover that.
Yeah. That sounds like business, yeah. No, I would be interested in socializing that
Sure.
ask as well and talking about how we let the town know what's coming up at the town meeting.
We are establishing a website, and I also have a video that we're almost finalizing that looks at the process that we're going to send to the community, put on the website, have LCTV show it as well. There are just a couple of things we're still trying to tweak with it before we release it. There's many hands at the table when you make one of these videos. We want to make sure that we're not saying something we shouldn't be saying at this point in time, so that all board of selectmen,
Finance committee.
finance committee,
Planning board.
and it's just, you have to make sure that you have a lot of eyes on what you're doing, because if we're doing this to be proactive, we don't want to end up being reactive as a result of saying something when people aren't ready to hear it. So,
Right, we also can't get ahead of what MSBA is allowing us to do and release as far as what the plans are, so we have to follow their prescribed guideline as well.
Sorry to sound so
okay.
kind of, I had just moved into town in the last round of
Okay.
school building.
Mhm.
It was a lot.
Was that Russell Street or the high school?
When I moved in, there was Shaker Lane, there was Russell Street, and then the high school was where the middle school was. They didn't have a high
Yes,
school.
yeah,
Yep, so that was about 19 or 20 years ago.
yeah. And we deal with a lot of people. We have an OPM, we have a design architect, and we have MSBA. And, they all are communicating with each other, and there's accountability mechanisms for each of those entities. It's kind of interesting to maneuver through that, all of the things that we have to do.
And I'm glad to sit with anybody and kind of walk them through what we've done and what we think the steps are going forward. If you're interested, we can do that.
It's not me, it's the town.
But
Yeah, and we're working on,
Yeah.
superintendent said we're working on some,
Ways to.
some educational videos that will help clarify what that process is.
we're very cognizant of the need to bring the town along with us
Yes,
during the
that's
process.
right.
That's our intent.
just a small, I mean, you know, when the library just got built,
Yes.
my daughter was one of the high schoolers who they took out and took to schools and planned on that. Yeah, she's turning 30. So that's how long that took.
Mhm.
And just to let you know about the like time
Yeah,
frame and building things and getting money for projects.
I mean, in this kind of project, I mean, until we get accepted into the program, you can't do anything, and we were accepted 2 years ago. So, within a 2-year period, we're already at the feasibility phase. So we've done well. But, now we're finally at the phase where we need to go out and start informing people about what's happening. So we're ready for that. And our design architect, that's part of their job, and that's why we hired them as well. And our OPM is also responsible for doing that. So we're gonna work with them to make sure that.
Anything I can do to help, I
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sure. We have Stacy with social media. Which will help as well. So,
Stacy?
Stacy.
I did. Well, yes, I did actually. I just wanted to say, just being a part of the building committee, I've been so impressed with how much all of the administrators have really focused on making sure that the community is involved as much as possible. where they're really, Kelly and Michelle, OPM, the designers are really digging deep on how to really network within the community so that we have the input we need, so that we get the structure that we want, and so that we get kind of the votes that we need to get this building done, because this kind of funding doesn't come around very often with the MSBA. And from my understanding, if we don't get this voted through with the town, then we kind of go to the back of the line again. So you guys have done a really good job just making sure that we are getting everybody's input. So for school committee members, it's definitely going to be on our shoulders to make sure that we're reaching out with any networks that we have, to make sure that everybody that we know within the parenting community know that there's ways to get involved and contribute to the decision-making process. So just throwing that out there too. It's a really big responsibility. It takes a community effort. And these guys so far have done a really great job of making sure that that's on the forefront of everyone's mind. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Stacey.
Budget subcommittee has no report this evening. Policy subcommittee.
Well, the one we were going to put that, we're gonna hold them.
Yes. Before we adjourn, we have our summer retreat dates planned?
It's on our,
We do, I put TBD because sometimes it changes, so I just didn't want.
could we send that date out again to the school committee? We have 2 days, we only do one, we usually just do 1 day.
16,
Sorry?
it's 15 and 16.
Thursday, Friday, right?
But are we just doing one day like we did
Yes.
last night?
But it's usually afternoon.
Yes, it's afternoon. We usually start at 3:30 or 8 o'clock.
Yeah, for some reason I have it on August 15th, so that must have gone out.
I think that's right.
Email.
No, it's August 15th.
August 15th, and the intent is to
Yeah.
get through all of the material in that 1 day. And in the event that we had spillover, we could use the next day, but the last couple of years, we haven't had to do that. I was just thinking about this. This is just like brainstorming for conversation. Like, I was thinking maybe it would be nice to have a school committee meeting, maybe even before the school year starts, because we have our retreat and we have like a lot of great conversation, discussion about goals and things like that. And then when the school year starts, we're kind of like, we get like this is the reopening of the schools. Like we hit the ground running. We don't have an opportunity as a committee to kind of bring those ideas forward and talk about the goals of the committee for the current school year. Like we have a lot of great conversations at the retreat, and then we sort of switch gears and we're, I don't know, just throwing that out there. Would it be
Basically, like to process the retreat.
correct? And also
Turn
make
that
it,
into-
a public meeting
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, these, what are our goals for the year?
So like having a retreat on the 15th and a meeting on the 29th, like to.
I don't know when it would need to be.
Okay.
School starts at 27.
Oh, never mind.
Our first school committee meeting isn't until. Anybody have that date?
September.
That was pretty good.
After Labor Day. Good stuff there.
Or maybe we just make that part of the first agenda, first agenda.
Mhm.
For some reason, I thought there was like, that we didn't meet until like the school was in for 3 weeks and then we finally met.
Because you wouldn't be ready with presentations from staff that soon in the year.
No.
So it would be more, maybe we could use that time for
We
planning.
could use it then too.
And
Sure.
All right. But at the retreat, we'll kind of map out the agenda
Yeah.
for the year,
Yeah, we do that.
like we've done in years past.
First meeting is September 12th.
Well, so the students will have been in school for like 3 weeks before we meet. Why don't we talk about it more at the retreat?
I'm glad you gave us the date, so I won't be gone.
Do you have the dates of all the school committee meetings for next year?
Um,
Okay, we'll get those too, because we have them, they were in a packet a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I sent you, I shared the folder.
Okay. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, I'll go dig in the phone and get it. I did.
I'm just getting that.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay,
It's a lot to take in.
A lot.
It is.
No problem.
there.
Is there any other business before the school committee this evening?
Great year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went by fast.
That's by really fast.
All right, let's for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Vino,
Second.
seconded by Elaine. All those in favor indicate it by saying aye. Aye. We have adjourned.